The Pentagon released video today showing last night's missile strike on that defunct spy satellite. Seems it was a direct hit. Now scientists will try to determine whether the satellite's fuel tank ruptured as planned. As Terry Milewski reports, the mission took place on a night when many eyes were already looking at the heavens.
The baby's name is a bit of a giveaway, Andromeda. Yes, of course, her parents are astronomy buffs. And naturally, they went out last night to see the lunar eclipse. It was cloudy over Prince George, though, a disappointing evening, until they looked around.
The moon was covered by clouds, so I thought I'd turn around and take a minute to try to find the Andromeda galaxy. And all of a sudden, I started seeing all these things. It's like, hey, what is this?
Forget the eclipse. What it was a bit of anti-ballistic muscle flexing by the U.S. military, which sent a missile into space to shoot down a dead spy satellite. The Pentagon claimed the satellite could be dangerous if it fell to Earth, so they blew it up over the Pacific, perhaps just to show they could. The result was a shower of debris burning up in the atmosphere.
She says, well, what's that? So I turned around and looked and saw what I thought was a meteor that was streaking. And then I started to see other ones and realized that, you know, it wasn't a normal meteor anyway. And after a few minutes of a minute or so of watching the debris, we decided it must be the satellite.
It was spectacular. I've never seen anything like it.
The timing fits. They saw the streaks of light just when the satellite would have passed over Prince George if left unmolested. The Pentagon says it wasn't saber-rattling in space, it was protecting public safety from a tank full of toxic fuel on the satellite.
We're very confident that we hit the satellite. We also have a high degree of confidence that we got the tank.
Still, there's no guarantee anyone would have noticed the falling debris except for those clouds, causing her parents to take their eyes off the moon and look for Andromeda instead. Terry Milewski, CBC News, Vancouver.
CBC science correspondent Bob McDonald is here now. Well, first of all, with today's technology, how hard was it to really hit that?
It was very hard, Peter, because they were hitting a bullet with a bullet. Both the satellite in space and the missile that hit it were moving much faster than rifle bullets, and they're small. So just getting up there and actually rendezvousing with no room for error at all is a remarkable accomplishment. And the important thing is that all they did was hit it. They didn't actually blow it up. They hit it. So now they got to watch out what's going to happen with the debris. And the idea of breaking it into tiny pieces is that small pieces will fall to Earth faster than big ones. They had a 2-ton satellite that had a lot of momentum. I like to think about it as the difference between throwing a rock, which you can throw for quite a long way because it's massive, but if you take the same mass of sand and try to throw that, the sand doesn't go very far because it spreads out in the air. So that's what they're hoping with all these bits of satellite debris, is that it'll slow down faster and fall into the atmosphere, by the end of the weekend.
End of the weekend. And
pretty well.
Do they have any sense of where these
yes,
little
they do.
I mean, how small are we talking about?
Well, they say there's nothing bigger than a football. So most of the pieces are smaller than that.
From a long way.
Yeah, football made of stainless steel can hurt from a great height. But here's what it's going. If I can show you on this globe, the satellite's orbit is almost north-south, and here's Hawaii over here. It was coming up south from the Pacific. They shot it here, and then as Terry showed, it went over northern BC and Canada, but then it comes down over the Atlantic Ocean. Down this way, goes down to the bottom, around under Africa, Australia, and then it comes back over the Pacific again. So it's spending most of its time over water. And that's what they're hoping, is that the debris will fall either in the Pacific or in the Atlantic without hurting anyone. So in that sense, if it does what it does, the mission is accomplished and nobody's going to get hurt.
Okay, what about other fallout, political fallout?
What I'm more interested in is the fact that the U.S. has basically tested their missile defense system. They have never shot a satellite down from orbit from a ship. They've done it from an airplane, but not from a ship. So what are other countries going to do? This is a very clever way of getting around the 1967 Weapons in Space Treaty, which says no weapons of mass destruction in space. This wasn't a weapon of mass destruction. You just hit a satellite and you can knock it out. So China's done this, Russia has done this, but what about Iran? They have rockets. What about North Korea? They have rockets. What about India? Are other countries going to do this? And the fear is that this might trigger this loophole in the Space Weapons Treaty to militarize space, and that's what everyone's worried about. The political fallout, not the fallout from the satellite itself.
All right. Bob, thanks very much.
Okay,
Bob McDonald, our science correspondent.